Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 6 of the streamerbot podcast. Today's guest is, well, to do the pointy thing, Lyfesaver. And if you don't know,
Hello.
and if you don't know who Lyfesaver is, where have you been?
Hmm.
Trust me, where have you been? Um, yeah, I think first off, how are you doing? You okay?
Doing good, feeling good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I have to say, when I first put this idea out, I think I approached you about it. I said, "Do you think this would be a good idea?"
I told you
And
it's a horrible idea. You shouldn't do it,
yeah,
but here we are anyway. You
I
never
know.
listen to me.
I don't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
But it was. I'm thinking, you know what? It will be fun to have you on it. Like you're the one of them that I was really looking forward to.
Ah, right on.
So I couldn't get you first. Actually, I have to have like a test dummy for first. That's why I use Bongo as first. But yeah, I've been looking forward to this one, and I think it was about a month or month and a half ago I approached you, and since
Yep.
then I've been really looking forward to having you on.
Y'all
So
didn't
for,
just hear that, did you?
what?
Okay, I just had an alert go off. I want to make sure it's not coming over into your stream.
Oh, I keep hearing you. I don't know if it's your Discord or my Discord. I keep
It's
hearing,
my
but
Discord, which is why I brought up OBS. And as soon as I did, the alert that it connected to streamerbot went off. And so now that it's in OBS is open, my Discord is in streamer mode. You won't hear that stuff anymore, hopefully.
I didn't hear your your OBS
Yeah.
connected sound. But I heard
Yeah.
you. I
Okay.
keep
Good.
hearing your beep
Good.
every now and again.
Good. Good. Good.
But I was thinking how long we've known each other because it will easily be since the public release of Streamerbot, but I think we knew each other prior to that for a little bit.
Okay. We probably uh, crossed swords in Andy's stream before he dropped that first video. Um, but um, you know, we really didn't start talking until public release.
Yeah, I think our friendship blossomed after that because,
Yeah.
and it has blossomed as a friendship. I have to say, you're one of the people that online I'm closest to,
Well, thank you.
and
Appreciate that.
we do get on, and I do have a point here. I do have a point.
Oh,
I'm getting
but,
there.
but the point I think you're trying to make is that we both enjoy not wearing any pants when we're hanging out.
Definitely.
That's the gist of it. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Let's say we've got to learn each other's like sense of humor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of get on that way because we've kind of got a similar sense of humor.
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. Uh huh.
So we got
Again, we
so
both don't like wearing pants.
yeah, we don't like wear pants. I don't like wear pants. So if anyone who doesn't know life, I think everybody does know life. Anyone who knows me knows life. If you don't know life, do check him out. I do have a button here. I'm gonna press.
You have a
Oh my
button?
god, that is not updated.
I
That's
don't have
not
a
saved.
button.
That's not saved.
You can get a button. I feel
No,
robbed.
I did. This is the problem when you've been so busy. Oh, nothing's working. Never mind. Why is nothing working?
You got it. It happened.
Oh, it did come. Just
Yep.
very slow. Just very slow. So, but so anyone who's watching on YouTube, these are streamed live on Twitch. So if you ever do want to hop in on a live stream and ask the guest a question, you can do. So my Terry twitch.tv/Terry Darts, and to keep up to date, follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Terry Darts. There's a lot of T's in that sentence, and it seems to throw me off every time. But anyone who doesn't know, live normally streams every day, 7 a.m. your time, is it?
Mm-hmm. 7 a.m. Central.
So you can
Yep.
see you can see my time above me. It's 20 past 8, and you can see Lifesaver's time above him, which is 20 past 2. These are controlled by streamerbot. Just to flex that. But yeah, so we'll go on to the first question. As always, the first question is, how did you start streaming? Where did all the streaming stuff start?
Um, from a guy by the name of Nate. I'm not gonna lie, the first few years of Twitch's existence, I looked at it as that's silly. That's just silly. Why are you gonna go watch? Just go play the game. Why are you gonna watch somebody else play a game? That's just silly. Um, and Nate was like, "It's not that silly, dude." And I was like, "It seems silly." And he's like, "It's not." And I was like, "Okay," but I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Um, so years go by. Pardon me. Years go by, and eventually, Nate and I ended up both getting a Lenovo Explorer VR headset, and they were on sale. So we took advantage of the sale, and I had mobile VR up to that point, but never had I had PC VR, and this was in well, this was probably I looked the other day. As a matter of fact, I can't remember. I want to say it was middle of 28. No, like 2018, March 2018, and uh, didn't really find Beat Saber because it came out in June. We didn't find Beat Saber until August, October, November, that area, and we both started playing the game for a little bit, um, and it was just right around Christmas time, 2018. He was like, "Oh, you got to see some of these other people play the video game," and I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Just go on Twitch, check this link out here." And it was a guy by the name of uh, Falcon. Hey, Falcon. Um, who occasionally still streams, and watched him play Beat Saber in mixed reality. So I could actually literally see him play the video game. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, well, this is a whole new different experience. This isn't just watching doing speed runs of Final Fantasy VII. I'm down with this. And so basically, I was a pure mixed reality VR watcher for about 2 months until February when I decided to stream myself. And Nate also as well decided to do some streaming. So that's basically my origin story of streaming. It was VR and Nate together equals the two of them were able to overcome my pre judgments of Twitch. Excuse me.
Want these something to do? Because I think you've told like the story you started streaming before. But want there something to do with Destiny involved, or is that a
No,
different
that's
story?
that's that's how I met Nate.
That's
Is
a yeah,
via
Nate.
Destiny, right? Yeah. Destiny won the first one. A buddy of mine named Ron were playing a lot, and we had another third player for our strike team named David. And he's a family guy, got kids, wife, the whole shebang dang, full time job. So his playtime were limited for what Ron and I were doing, which was just playing pretty much whenever we wanted. So we met up with Nate, who he had met online in IRC, and he became our third player for our strike team. And it was history after that. We were playing Destiny way more than we should have, but we enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, and I knew there was something in the storyline with you and Nate and Destiny, and I couldn't quite place it. I couldn't remember if it was the start of your streaming career or not. Because you have been
I
streaming now at least a while now, and it? Because like I think Nate
oh,
got his 45-month badge or something recently.
yeah, it's been well, in February it'll be 4 years. So there you go.
I mean that's a long time. But then again, I feel like it's probably felt like it's gone really quick.
Oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I think I was two this September, and I'm like, how has it been 2 years? How have I
Yeah.
been doing all this for 2 years? It's insane how quick it goes, and how
Yep.
fast it goes.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
It does go faster than you do realize. That's for sure.
so you started streaming. You said December. What will them
February.
stream?
February.
You said February. Sorry.
Right. Started watching Twitch in December.
Started watching to then you started streaming in December. So what were your these first stream like? Because obviously there wouldn't be no streamer bot for you that back in February 2019. I think, or 18, whenever you said.
19
So
February 19. Yeah.
2019.
Um. Yeah. No. My first few streams were just an avatar VR stream, running live, turned on avatars, and started playing Beat Saber. I did that for um 2.5, 3 months, somewhere around there, before I switched to a no green screen. Um, this is back before Live had their segmented. It was you had to have a connect, and it was janky. But anyway, a no green screen mixed reality for about a month before I said, "Oh, heck with that." I took the couch out of the tiny house. I took the downstairs Murphy bed out of the tiny house. I hung up a green screen curtain, and I said, "We're going to do full mixed reality." And that, yeah, that's it.
It's cool. Like it's good that you thought straight in. Because if I remember rightly, something you mentioned on stream before, obviously streaming, but you used the chatbot, the S word we don't say, chatbot.
SLCB, yeah, SLCB.
You had that for as your bot, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That was one of uh, the image profile image shout out feature that I first ever had was done in Streamlabs chatbot. Uh, it was very um, well, it worked just fine, but it was very convoluted. It had to do more than it needed to do. And then, of course, there was the ability for um, either the bot or people in the stream to change my live cameras from a regular view to what we call the challenge view. A lot of people don't know this, but back when before streamerbot, Nate worked on a project called Versus Mod, which basically took um, your score in Beat Saber on a particular map, and you could store it and compare it and create playlists against your friends and all other kinds of things online. But for streamers, it also would allow the viewers to challenge you directly on the stream to beat their score. If you happen to have a higher score than them and they had challenges open, you type an exclamation challenge and the Beat Saber song ID, and it would challenge that streamer had to then beat that score. They would pass or fail whether they beat the score or not. Well, when that challenge went into effect, we had it to where it would change the live camera view and go to this big, close up, more of a focused view where you only got my above my non-existent butt and the top of my head, whereas normally you saw the entire, figure in the view. But yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I've admitted that I used the chatbot for a while
It was good
because
fun.
because of the scripting part in scripts.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, there was some issue there that you lost a bit of creativity or customization when you were importing them, which you probably know yourself. But it did a lot of things that the online ones didn't as well. So when you got your Nightbot, I don't think there's a currency system in Nightbot, so you lose that. Stream Elements, you lost some other things that you couldn't send a sound and text at the same time in Stream Elements, and it came to a point where like I need something to do everything. And at this point, I hadn't found Leo on board. Obviously, streamerbot wasn't a thing at this point.
Right.
It was like it was the best thing. It was
Sure.
generally probably the best thing on the market, and I know a lot of people still use it. And I look at it and I go, oh god, and I cringe because now because I know what's out there, it's like why did I ever use it? But at the
Yep.
time,
That's all you had. Yeah.
You Google, streaming bot or all like that. Yeah, now you might see streamer bot up there because which was a good job, but the Streamlabs chatbot is one of the first things you see, and I think it was for me. So
Yeah, I never used Nightbot or any. I mean, I went straight from nothing to SLCB to streamerbot. I never tried Leon board or anything else. As a matter of fact, Nate was working on streamerbot, and somebody who is actually one of the one of the managers on our team said that uh, oh, so basically that's what Learn Board can do. And Nate and I were like, the what? Huh? We hadn't heard of them, so that was actually how we found out they were there. And we were like, yeah, I guess, in a way.
yeah,
It started out being called Channel Points Handler, and
yeah,
that was in July 16th, 2020.
and that's why that was kept in. There is some of that still kept in there. That's why with the C# you use CPH
CPH. Mm-hmm.
as like a throwback sort of thing to it. So if that's a picture, if anyone didn't know that, that's why you use CPH because it stands for
Yep.
channel point handler because that's what it's called.
That's what it started out to be, was just a channel point. It didn't start to do anything else. It was created just for that reason, to handle channel points, because channel points had just come out.
So that kind of leads on to the next question: what are the early streamer bot memories that you can think of? Where did the project start? How did it develop?
Well, you have to understand, I was like constantly sending Nate nudes, and he was like, "If I build a bot, will you please stop?" And I said, "Sure." And so that is absolutely not how it came to be. What happened is Nate just actually decided to do it to see if he could. You know, he had already been working on a a TTS script for SLCB that was C# driven, because it literally took the built-in one core voices that Windows had installed, and of course any sappy voices, and you could do a lot of neat fancy stuff with it. So he had kind of already built this um, Python script that was built off of the C# library that did most of the work, the heavy lifting, and so we were just, Streamlabs chatbot didn't have channel points, and it wasn't going to have channel points. I don't think they still have channel points yet. They might, I don't know. But uh, that's, I mean, I didn't even, nobody asked Nate to do this. He just decided to play with the Twitch API, you know, and he was like, "Here you go. Here's this little app that will, you can do things with channel points." It was just that alone. It was a pretty solid little powerful app. And yeah, that was June 16th. Yep,
That's going some back. Is that because you think that if that's June 16th, that's what
2020.
6 June 16th. Oh yeah, June 2020. Oh, why? I'm thinking 2016 for some really wacky reason.
Well, you're wacky and weird, so it makes sense. Go ahead.
In 2020, so that's 2 years ago. And I assume that handle happened when, because I remember when Leonbod couldn't create channel points.
Right.
So I remember when there must have been a point when Twitch added that into their API.
No, the ability to create channel points was, I believe, and anybody who knows different can always correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was there from the get go. I just think Leorin decided, well, there's already a way to create channel points that I don't need to spend time making the bot do that right now. Um, which is, fine, because there was. But yeah, there's still that limitation that, of course, any channel point that was created in Twitch, the bot can't fully work with.
Yeah.
No bot can. But yeah, Yeah, I mean, I believe day one it was able to create channel points inside the CPH. Yeah,
I mean, you might be right. It just that that's
who's to say for sure? Yeah.
I just remember that when it was added to Leo on board, and again, this was
Gotcha.
back to a time when I wasn't as smart as I am now. I mean, I'm not that smart now, but I've I was less smart then.
You were always this smart, but you just weren't using your smarts. See, that's the difference.
um, but so what can you remember from the first thing, that first release? You saying that first one he said, "Oh, here's an app." What can you remember from it? Because obviously looks nothing like it does now, but
Right.
what can you remember from it? Because a lot of people will have never seen that them
And
first releases.
to be fair, it does. It didn't. Well, it doesn't look. It didn't look that different than it does now either. To be quite honest with you, there's a lot more to it, but it looked like the same. The only truly difference as far as the UI is concerned, because it was still just the tabs with your options in it. But the real, truly only true UI difference was when he first released it, you couldn't resize it. Other than that, it's just more of the same. Well, not more of the same as features, of course, but more of the same as UI. Just more tabs, more checkboxes and whatnot. So it was pretty much a lot like you see now, just with a lot less in it. Um, but yeah, and again, that's one of the reasons why the UI. And a lot of people like the very basic, very um, utilitarian look of the bot because they're in there just to get work done type thing. Some people are like, "Ooh, I wish it was prettier." But when he started, this was just an app that was for a few of his friends. A thought concept that got put into production, and for its first year, um, it was available to anyone who pretty much asked for it, but you had to know it existed and ask for it. You had to join my Discord at the time, and then I'd give you a role to something called Nate's Nook, which is where he had Twitch speaker and where he had CPH. It wasn't named streamerbot until it went public. That's when
Yeah,
it got renamed to streamerbot. But its entire time that it was called CPH or channel point handler, it was actually a little section carved out of my Discord. You had to literally. That's the only way to have gotten it. Yeah.
because I think that's how Flad said he got it. Flad said that
Oh yeah. hmm
they see how he got into, and
Flad was pre public for sure. Yeah.
I
So was
think
Geo.
yeah, I think I've seen some of the older CPHs because I think obviously I'm in
Mm-hmm.
your Discord. I think I've got access to that Nate's Nook, and I think
Yep.
I went back and I think I had a look at a few of them. And you are right; they do look. It is still the same, like what's called win
Right.
forms,
Mm-hmm.
which is why they explain why dark mode is so hard. Again, it's a little thing that goes slightly over my head on the wiser one. I just say, okay, this is what I'm told. Some people say it's easy, some people say it's hard. I'm like, I'll take the word that it is what it is.
If it was easy, Nate would have already done it
Yeah,
because
I mean that.
because so many people want it. I mean, just think, one or two people use the bot and they say, "Hey, can you do this?" And if they're serious about it, he'll be like, "Yeah, okay, I can do that." So just think, hundreds of people ask for dark mode. If it was easy,
It had been done.
absolutely.
I mean, talking of easy, and this is in the Flad podcast, in the bit where we say about the future of the bot, I mentioned something about the pick color sub action having a random because he didn't have a random. And then other day I was building something, and I noticed that the random's been put in, and I'm like, where did this random get put in? And I'm looking through all change logs.
Change logs, yeah,
It's not noted anywhere. It hasn't
sure. So
been it hasn't been noted anywhere.
that happens. A few things we'll slip through
And
Nate's
and
memory.
that kind of backs up what you said. That me asking that could have been really simple to add in. That probably just for Nate, a couple of lines of code for Nate, really simple to add it. So you just add it, and when it's come to putting it out there, it's something that's just flown under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of backs up what you said, that if it was easy, and it's not even that if it were easy, if it took a tiny bit of work,
Yeah. Oh,
it would
yeah. Even if it was a tiny bit of work, yeah, sure, or
it
even
would
moderate amount of work.
you know
Yeah.
look at the things that Nate has added,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that things, if they were doable, he'd have done them.
Yep.
So
I think like 6 or 7 people asked for MIDI, and now here we are rolling out MIDI. 600 or 700 people have asked for dark mode. So try.
I mean, I'm still not sure what MIDI really does because I'm not. But if people
I
want it,
only understand the basics of it, so I'm
yeah.
right there with you.
But yeah, so assuming the first one, it could interact with your channel points.
Mhm.
Was it more like, did it have the C sharp compiler? Did with that later on? Was
No, that took a minute. That took a minute. It was one of the first features for sure. But um, it was one of those things where a lot of people were asking for certain things, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't do all that, but I tell you what, I'll just add a C# compiler where y'all can do that if you want."
yeah, which that for me, has given me the platform to learn. I think it's given a platform to a lot of people to learn a language. You know, if it weren't for Stream, but I want to learn C sharp because I want to learn
Right?
how.
Oh, for so many people are learning C# because of his bot. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I know Gavin who said many times, oh, he knew kind of bits of code, but being able to learn it in a proper environment where you can put it to use
Hmm.
has been really handy.
Yep.
Which is good that and you've seen it on that journey. You've seen it on that journey progress. You've seen it get to where it is now, to where it from day one to day whatever day we're on now. Day 500 and odd, probably. Year and a half.
Yep.
Which it's nice that it has grown and it has nice, but like I say, it's looking back and knowing what it was. So we know what it will like. So let's move on a little bit then,
Yep.
and we'll say, what have you built in the bot? Because you've done a few bits in the bot, I believe.
Um, Things that I built in the bot myself directly. Let's see here. My magazine covers. That's something that I built in the bot. Various for those who've been to my stream, you can do a channel reward, and it'll do a Vogue or a GQ magazine cover, and you can change the title of the magazine cover, and it'll take a snapshot of my webcam as the for the magazine cover as well, and then display it. Same thing for the quote system. As a matter of fact, Nate added the quote system because I found a newspaper code pin that, again, input could change the headline and whatnot. Um, but there wasn't a quote system built in. And that's one of the things that Nate was like, I can do a quote system for you. That won't take me too long. And like a couple days later or a day later, he was like, you try this out. Um, at the early stages, I'd say a lot of things were me and just a select few others that were like, it'd be nice if the bot did this, and Nate was like, I can do that. But yeah, so let's see what else. Some of the simple things. I mean, a lot of the simple. I mean, a lot of things I was doing first only because Nate was like, "Here you go, try this out." I was one of the people that was like, "Sure, I'll be a guinea pig." Um, so voice control, it was the ability to do certain things with voice control was something that me and I believe Geo asked for. Um, so my just the responsive, feel like a woman. Uh, and have, oh, there it goes. Um, uh, little things like that that have just been with me forever. Um, the splat, not the HTML overlay for the bot. While I technically didn't build that, it was my commission. So my contributions to the bot aren't as prolific as say, or no, I wouldn't use the word prolific. I would say is in your face, as say what maybe Flad has done. But in the background, there's a lot of contribution there, just in the form of promising not to send Nate nudes if he would add this feature, things like that. But yeah, uh, lots of things I've created, lots of things I've asked to be created, lots of things I had an idea and someone went along and was like, I can do that for you. And they did it in a much better fashion than I ever could, and probably 10 times faster than I ever could. So, yeah,
I think when you go back talking about guinea pig, you've definitely been my guinea pig a few times.
absolutely. I enjoy
I
it.
mean,
It's fun.
and I mean, even now doing the word wheel that
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get, just being having someone say that, can you just run this, and you'll run it, you'll test it, you're always
Sure.
willing to do that, which is always nice. But I think
Yeah.
what you're for me, one thing is you introduced me to like code pens, which
Mm.
and how to do that, and how to do that little bit of JavaScript to put in thingy. And even
Mm-hmm.
though now my JavaScript skills have improved, so I might do it through the WebSockets instead.
WebSockets now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a good platform, and again, the tower game that came from the code pen that you edit. I believe you edited. I
Yep.
don't know who actually really did the WebSocket stuff, but that came from
Uh,
you. You
yep.
played with the wheel spin you had that one of your another one of your channel points that you've got.
A lot of whip whip because I don't do JavaScript. Whipstick helped me out with a lot of those things. He might be like, I just need this, and he would do that. Or sometimes I'd be like, I need this to do all of this, and he would do all of that. Various different levels of Whipstick helping out. uh, and yeah, a lot of the code pins that were out there at first needed that JavaScript because the bot didn't have WebSockets at that time. I don't know when exactly they got WebSockets, but I do want to say it was just shortly before um, public release. So, like the first year, it had to go through the URL parameters.
Yeah. And when you spoke about you having an idea, I think that we can use it as the Mario clicker that even we've kind of like worked on together. You know, you said I have this idea. I want to don't want to use spins. I want to trigger it some other way.
Right.
When you click, I want to use click. So we got that, and
Heat.
then we worked it with using the heat map, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually we caught it. It did work, and it gave
Yeah.
lives. Every 100 coins, it gave a life. We caught it working.
You and David did that though.
Dave did the heat map. I did most of the Mario stuff.
Yeah,
I was
all
doing
the
that.
Mario stuff was you. Yeah, but I'm saying the heat stuff that was you and David both working on that.
The heat is all Fowler's mainly.
Yeah.
Really good work. He don't get the credit he deserves for it because like it's weird. It's like it's my YouTube video,
Mm-hmm.
so people think it's mine, but generally it was Fowler's who did it,
Yep.
David Fowler's, and
Yep.
it don't get enough credit for it in my opinion. Although I did do bits of it. You know, I didn't do none. I
Sure.
did some bits. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
I like some credit. I do like some credit, just to feed my ego that little bit.
Got
But
to.
I can imagine you messaging Whip going, "Oh, I've got this idea," and you explain this really big idea, and then he goes,
Uh-huh.
"Okay," and then 5 minutes later he goes, "Here you go,"
Pretty
and
much.
and you're
Pretty
thinking,
much.
"How have you done that in
Pretty
five
much.
minutes? How have you
Yeah.
done that in 5 minutes?"
He even actually does it a little bit faster if you compliment his butt. So I make a habit to always compliment his butt. Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it is. I can't
I
remember
know.
what.
Now that we're talking about Whip's butt, you can't remember anything else. I get it.
I can't remember his name. Whip
Whipstick, go stop.
Whipstick. Go stop.
Halo.
There you go. I'm just doing that so that when I do the thingy, I can remember who
Right.
we've like spoken about.
Yep.
Because I like to put everybody who we've mentioned in the description.
Cool. Good idea.
So with streamerbot, what I'm doing is anyone can shout anyone out, and it'll just literally write who's been shouted out to a file. Just help me out. But yeah, so we talk about the things you've built. I think we know that the community's built a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
You've seen it. You've seen it. We've seen the extension site with
Yep.
all that. What are the things you think? Wow, that's really good that you've seen. Because I think you've seen a lot. But
Man, the things that have blown me away the most are, and I can't remember what account it's for, but it was very early on after we went public. Um, there's a guy, and he's in the Discord, pretty active, fairly active. Guy by the name of Mushies, and I don't remember what stream he mods for. It's a rap. That's what it is. It's a rap battle streamer partner, Twitch partner, and basically they have this Tekken style fighting game. I mean, it looks just like a Tekken clone, where they're rapping. The two people are, I mean, the two contestants are rapping, and the rappers fight, and they do knockouts to take away hit points, and it's this huge, extravagant display. Um, and it was just one of the things that just blew me away very early. And I was like, "Geez, I thought I'd had some good ideas and done some crazy, awesome things, but this guy is just absolutely insane." Uh, and then I would say Madcap's creativity. He's probably one of the most single individually creative people I've met on Twitch over these years, and one of the first people I met too. He was a mixed reality Beat Saber streamer, but he can just take the power of streamerbot and make it do awesome things. Any idea, and he gets a lot of crazy ones. Any idea he thinks of, he can make it happen. Um, I'm gonna forget a few, of course, but uh, there's a cartoonist named Loading Artist who does some really neat things with the bot and his artwork. Um, I'm just trying to think. I mean, if you go in the Discord and you look at that
yeah.
show off channel, you can spend days looking at people's creations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
I
I
mean,
would say probably one of the most um, truly helpful and hidden and not praised often nearly enough was something that Crane created, which was the MQTT extension, to allow streamerbot to talk to your entire home assistant or whatever MQTT broker you might be using, to give it that full power of playing with your smart home. That was pretty awesome.
yeah. But that was really cool, and I remember your streams trying to set it up.
Oh yeah. Oh, we did. We were playing with that thing, and I still use it every stream. But yeah, we were playing, tinkering with it and testing it out for a couple weeks for sure. Yeah.
And but again, it's one of the things that's really cool, but it's also really like niche in a sense because
Three eyes.
three eyes. I knew it was something like that. I almost did two again. That's three eyes.
I guess
But
it's
there's
not. No,
no
you forgot
H.
the H. You
I
forgot the
know.
H. Yeah. Moosies.
Oh my
More than
god!
one mooses.
But
There you go. You got it.
yeah, some really cool stuff there. And again, I remember seeing the loading artists. I think we read him after the Flat podcast, and someone
Yep.
asked about um his setup and how his alerts work, and he just took it, and you saw how he done this action triggers this action triggers this action, and then if based on what this action is, it does one of these three actions, and it was like,
Yep.
oh my god, that's kind of I mean, I like to think of myself as someone who knows streamerbot pretty well, but that just blows my mind
Yep.
straight out. How
Geo, to me, Geo's at that same level, though. He really is.
how you can do something so complex in the actions is insane. And same Mad Cap. I think we were hanging out the other day and trying to problem solve something, but he built a slot machine with no C sharp,
Right.
and
Well,
that's
there's
just
one little there's like 4 or 5 lines of code of C sharp that he needed to have done. But beyond that, it's all like 48 actions or whatever. Yeah.
and again it's insane. And again, someone was playing it the other day on stream, and how it rolls, and if the first two match, it becomes really
Yeah, it goes
big, and
bigger. Yeah.
it builds up this. Are you thinking, oh my, that's insane?
His brain is insane. What can I say?
Just to do it in there is it just beyond me. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. And
Yeah,
again,
I can't get that level. I'll never get to that level.
one thing I think that Mushies did create that I thought were really good. I don't know if you remember it, and I'm gonna try to explain it best I can. But it was organizing sources. So they create something where if you could organize sources,
Uh-huh.
and they'd come like in like on your scene, like in straight lines. So
Right.
if you wanted 4 columns of two, you go
Mhm.
two here, two here, two here, two, and they'd be in
Yep.
perfect organization. You're thinking that would really cool.
Yeah, I
How
was
you,
jealous of his organizational skills for
and it
sure.
was like, oh, if you wanted, eight rows and three across, it was like just you could just sort them out and just do them, and it'd be like, wow, that's so
Yep.
cool. And some of the stuff, I mean, as always, you can't mention the list of cool stuff without mentioning Flad,
Yeah,
because
flat. Yep,
Flad's
absolutely.
got some
Yeah,
really,
and he's on a whole
really
nother
cool
level
stuff.
too. Yeah. Um,
But Flad's
and
stuff
that,
is really good because you can build on top of it. It
yeah.
always gives you that platform
Yep.
to allow. It allows you to put your stamp on it. Flad says, "Here's what I built, but here's how you can make it yours." And I think that's
Yep.
what's really good about the way Flag builds.
The one things I like about his videos is that he takes the time afterwards to go a little bit. I mean, you can, if you know what you're doing, you can watch the first half of his video and get everything you need. But then the last half, it's extra information that if you really are going to customize it, it's good for you to watch and learn from.
Yeah, and I think like I say, I wouldn't be where I am as well now if it weren't for Flad,
Yeah, oh yeah,
because
no, absolutely. Vlad's, top tier. He's one of
I
the
have I have pestered Flad.
biggest, probably the biggest creator for the bot at the moment.
I have pestered
He's,
Flad a lot.
yep, he's definitely got the most YouTube videos out there for it. Um,
I know
yeah, and as
I'm
being just a
slacking,
general all around nice guy, there ain't nobody better. So yeah, Vlad is definitely somebody you gotta follow.
and he's really smart as well. He's really well knowledge. So and he has a way of breaking things down as well. I think we spoke about this on his podcast. When he asks him a question, he can give you a speak to me like I'm 5-year-old answer, but he can also give you the speak to me like I kind of know what I'm doing kind of answer.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's really good with Flag because, again, we spoke of that. I struggle to do that when I'm trying to help people. I
Mhm.
either go too far in speaking to like the 3-year-old, or I treat them, like they know just as much as me. and there's never a middle ground. So I think
Yep. Vlad's awesome.
so. Slightly moving on,
Okay.
we're going to talk about the future of the bot. Now, I think we all kind of have our ideas about what we'd like and
Sex toys.
where. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to. When I'm in a train of a thought, thinking I'm going to ask him this question. I'm going to word this question really nicely. I'm going to
Go
get this
ahead.
question out nice, and then he's going to throw me off with an answer like nudes or sex toys or
Yeah,
dildos or
absolutely.
something like that.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I won't be able to put it on YouTube because I'll get banned because I'm talking about dildos.
Right. But everyone on YouTube talks about dildos. But go ahead. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
So I've no idea. Right. So
Nice.
we've all got our ideas about
Mhm.
what we want, and as I've said many times, I would like this sort of like the script importer like Streamer's chatbot had, so that I could literally open like there'd be a separate tab and so that. I mean, I've got a load of ideas. Some are tiny, some are really hard, and probably will never be able to happen because they'd be too not too difficult. I think that's the wrong word for it, but they're just the word that they required wouldn't be the same amount of reward you get out of it, sort of
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
But I think we had this conversation a while ago about what one thing would we like out the bot if we could have anything. And I think my answer there would be a way to view the globals inside the bot, because or all the globals, all the user variables, stuff like that. But where do you stand on that? What is the sort of things that you want in the bot? Big or small?
Um. I would say my. It's kind of a tough one. It's because I would almost want it to do certain things maybe a little bit better or differently, like say voice control. I would love to have the ability to choose Microsoft voice, engine or an open source voice engine that he's might have found that works well enough that you can package with the bot. Um, but at the same time, I also know that here recently I watched a video of someone setting up voice control. I think it was Nerd or Die, and he did it in a completely different way by setting the threshold all the way down to 0 and only recording the words that you want, add them directly to the dictionary, and then the bot works flawlessly every time. So there could be a way that if you do it like say in that style, that the Windows engine is just fine now, and it would actually not benefit the bot very much to have another open source voice engine. But then again, also at the same time, it would be good to have the open source voice control engine. So maybe it would work on Linux and Mac. Uh, so it's knowing how all certain things are tied in together, and they really do, in my mind's eye, um, go around in an oblong orbit around the bot of when they're needed and when they're most easy to do, and it just keeps going. Um, and that's just one example. Um, but yeah, so it's a hard question for me to answer, but I would say if they're big, the big thing for me would be the bot to have a completely new rewrite and for it to be cross-platform and for it to have a plug-in style system. That would be the holy grail. Now that would take Nate, I don't know, could take him overnight or it could take him 8 weeks. I don't know, because you just never know with him. Sometimes he can just do amazing things. Um, it would be huge. Of course, it would be huge. Uh, and to a certain extent, it's not necessarily something that he is against at all. I think one of the things that he and I'm putting words in his mouth here, but I believe he said it publicly in the past. One of the things that he regrets the most is, this project only his vision of only it being, for his friends and doing the win forms and making it the way he did. If he could go back that very first day, he'd be like, "No, I'm gonna try WPF or something like that," which isn't as cross-platform as could be, but you get my point. Um, so yeah, I really can't. I don't have a single straight answer for that. There's so many things out there that um, and some things that I'm really excited about that are already in progress. The better decks, the a better Discord integration, a better um, uh, um, something. Another one I was trying to think of. I can't think of it. I dropped it. But yeah, so I also know that to a certain extent, a lot of the things that I'm most excited about, if I'm just patient, will eventually happen. So.
I think most people agree is the thing you want in the bot only comes to light when you need it.
Mm.
I think it's similar to, it's like, you know, we spoke about how the change, one of the changes broke one of my codes. So I think, well, I need a new way of doing this now. We spoke, I think I spoke to Nate about how Twitter changing the developer portal made my Twitter bit more difficult.
Mhm.
I think, there's a lot of things there. I said, we spoke about having, the plugin, the scripting part of sort of like system, we spoke about having it all depends on how I'm feeling on the day about what I want in the bot because it depends what I'm building. So I get that generally to point something out as this is what I want is hard
Mhm.
because, and it's kind of why I like to do it as well. I think put the people on the spots to say that this is one thing I would really like. Um, but yeah, I think I get that, because generally we're in the position where most things we've asked for, I say most, and without trying to, you know, Nate has always considered, and most things I've been in there. Apart from dark mode, that's not in there. But obviously, for whatever reason, there it's not there. But again, we can do a lot in the bot now,
Mhm.
and Nate does add things to the bot. You can see that Nate adds things to the bot. It's clear Nate adds things to the bot. So the small things sort of like do get put in.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
mean, let's see. There's a few smaller things like I don't know a button to because people do ask about that big connected Twitch button. Where's that gone? We do get that a few times, and maybe something on the front as a small thing, just to say connected to Twitch or what you're connected to, or something in the bottom corner just to show what you are connected to.
Mhm.
Because if you want to
He's
see,
already thought about that. Absolutely. Mhm.
which I knew we'd already thought about it, but like I say, it's nice to say, look, this is what I'm connected to. This is what, and you can see it in bottom corner. This is what I'm connected to YouTube, connected to
Mhm.
OBS. It's little
Yep.
things like that. For me now, it's not features that I kind of,
Looking for quality of life stuff now.
it's quality of life stuff, and you
Yep.
things that would make a new user not be
More more user
put,
friendly is what you're
yeah,
okay.
not
Yep.
put off. Because I know people
Yep.
who have said, oh, the bot, it would just, you open it up and it's this big white canvas that's staring you in the face, and
Yep.
I kind of get it. I kind of get it,
It's intimidating. It's intimidating, sure. And it has a learning curve. Sure, absolutely. But even with a different UI, and this is being just 100% honest, there's still going to be the learning curve of what sub action does what what order does it need to be in, what is the queue going to do. So I would say 85% of the learning curve is going to remain even with a more user friendly UI. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd even be more than that, but it's just that initially, I think we've spoken about this before. But what can we do? I remember Leo on board had like a mini tutorial when you opened it up, which I know you said you never use Leo on board, but they were like this little
but
tutorial. It would say, "This is what this does. This is what this does. This is what this does," and you'd have to keep clicking what each thing is. And again, something like that, we said we don't know. We spoke about putting blanket actions in, but again, some people weren't keen on that idea. We spoke
yeah,
about putting comments in with folders that are like a lot of frequently asked questions. And again, people were like, I don't know if that's a good idea. But I think you're always gonna get that at you. We with how many people we have, so like so many ideas, there's always be someone who disagrees. There's never gonna be a point where we all agree.
it's not just that. I think everyone can agree that having blanket ads would benefit the super noobs to bots, or having a guide would help certain people. That definitely, no one is debating whether or not those types of things would help, because it definitely will help some people. Um, the question remains is I mean the question that we really have to ask is it how much am I catering to? Am I catering to the 5%, the 1%, or the 15%? And an argument could be made, you're catering to 15 to 25% with a lot of the new people that their only experience are Nightbot or something like, I don't know, Trigger Fire. I never really looked at it, but I heard that it had a relatively user interface, but didn't do everything. And the ability to do more requires more options, and more options equal more confusing. Um, One of the things that I thought might be a good idea, and Nate even said it's interesting and not 100% unwelcome, but also at the same time, there's other things to work on, is to have a more basic option when you first load. You don't see all these things. All you see is, let's say, for instance, Twitch and or YouTube and OBS. That's it. You have to say, show me all these advanced options, and then all your tabs open up, and all these extra options appear on this one page. Um, I think Nate's ultimate reason for stepping away from that was, again, who are we catering to? And if you're gonna spend time working on something, maybe that time would be better spent on a rewrite or on a new feature, or just making the feature more user friendly in general versus telling people how to use it or hide it. So yeah, not saying any of those are bad ideas. They're all good ideas. It's just, is it worthy? That's the question.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
yeah. And again, it's a point that again you've given. We've mentioned like what 3, 4 ideas,
Mm.
and it's hard then to say well which is again which helps the most people, which has the most impact, which will be the easiest to implement. Which there's a lot of questions, added questions as well, like you said. So he's right, but again, it shows that there is that line of thinking of how can we cater to new people as well as cater to the people who we've already caught,
Mhm.
and it's because that's how it goes. I just know that people have said,
Sure.
they don't like, again, they find it intimidating when they first open it
Yep.
compared to other bot likes Mix It Up or
Yep.
the
I
other
hear you.
one, and then again, people moan about the UI, the way it looks, and it's. I mean, for me, the way the UI looks is neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's fine.
It,
It's
it
utilitarian, but it's fine. Yeah.
because generally it's going to be hidden. You can
Yep.
think what do most people do who stream game? You have a game on one screen, OBS on another. They're not looking at the bot. There's no reason to.
Yep.
And most people won't do what we do as build stuff. Or there's a large community of builders. Don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of stream.bot users who just use it as a bot, the same way they would the chat bot or
Yeah.
anything else. They just use it as a bot, and because they know how it works and it's fairly light,
Yep.
that's just the way they use it.
Yep.
So it is what it is. But I'm excited. I mean, one thing I do when we see a new changelog or we see a new alpha release or new beta release, I'm excited. I think, oh, there's something new, and each one excites me. There's many jokes done where I go to bed and I wake up with 3 new alphas,
Right. Yeah.
and it's like just but it is like I say, it what it is. I think it's they're like buses. You wait ages for one to come along, and then 3 come along all at the same time. But if anyone does have any questions for Life in the chat, feel free, or for me, or if you've got any questions for me, Life.
No, I'm all out of questions. I am. I'm all out of questions.
Yeah, I think we've
We hit all the high points, all the topics. Um,
I mean, it's been a good, interesting look back into the early days because not a lot of people will have seen it even as early as you. I mean, if anyone has seen it as early as you, I mean, I would assume that Nate made it and then sent it to you.
I think so. I
So,
think so. He might have sent it to one other person before me back then. I don't know.
but
I I don't know. I think he probably sent it to me just simply because of the time of day/night it was, me being always at the computer. I don't know. Probably.
and there's one thing I wanted to bring up in the other section when we talk about the early days. The one thing I do remember about when it came from is the story about the hotkeys.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, when we released it public, it didn't have hotkey support. Was it? I wouldn't say. I mean, it was a huge oversight, because hotkeys are such, a wildly utilized tool. But at the same time, I don't think had we realized that hotkeys were needed, I don't think it should have slowed it down the release or anything. But yeah, because the testing bed for for the bot for its first year, its conception were VR streamers who aren't at their keyboards most of the time. Hotkeys might have been mentioned once or twice during that year, but not like any serious manner. And they turned out to be one of the biggest pains in the ass ever. I mean, ever. Um, be honest, I think the two biggest pain in the butts are A, hotkeys, and B, playing a sound. Just
Yeah,
simple playing a sound. Only because Windows um, does funny things with audio. Yeah.
I mean, I do avoid hotkeys like the plague.
Yep. I
I really
avoid
do.
them.
And anyone who let's say I think it was talking that I introduced someone to streaming bot because they wanted a death counter, and and when I said to him, like, I was like, you can use mix it up. Mix up is fine. Mix it will do it, but I can make you it in streamer bot, and I can give you the support I can give you with streamer bot. I can't do it with mix it up. So she
Right.
downloaded streamer bot. I made a really simple death counter, but she had Streamlabs, and it didn't connect. So she'd now connected to OBS. I managed to switch her over a couple of days ago to OBS,
Yep.
and but she was using hotkeys. I'm like, if you've got a spare phone, can you use the Dex?
Yeah.
Just use the Dex, and she's like, oh, all right. So, I mean, I will keep like mentioning like just you can use Dex, use the
Yep.
Dex. Now I don't need to. I've got a Stream Deck, so I'm looking if that I don't really need to use a Dex, but I think that's what kind of brought me to the Leon bot with the Dex. So the fact that
Yep.
there's great use for them.
Yep.
So just being able to
Absolutely.
press a button just to add a death or minus a death.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, just so you all know, you can support Nate if you want to. He's not one to share it himself, but we all like to support him the best we can. Because Nate is awesome. So there is Patreon link. That'll be in the description of the video as always. And again, you can follow Life. His link will be below in the description as well. I would press my guest button, but I've broken it. So I've got to do another little shout out for anyone who doesn't follow Life. And yeah, it's been really fun.
It has been fun.
This
Thank you for having me.
There will be another one next Wednesday, the 4th. What is your day?
Today's the 7th. So next Wednesday is the 14th.
The 14th. And the 14th is probably my last stream of the year.
Okay.
So look out for that. And the one on the 14th is a good one.
Okay. Right on. They've all been good ones.
It's a little twisted, the next one.
Okay. Twisted. I wonder who that could be.
Well, I'll tell you the twist because it doesn't really matter. It's someone who doesn't use streamerbot.
Oh, okay. A streamerbot podcast with somebody who doesn't use streamerbot. That sounds interesting. Okay. Will people be wearing pants?
Yes. No.
Right.
But it's top half only, so you can't tell.
Oh, okay. All right.
So no one knows you're not wearing pants. I've had to crop that bit out. I can see everything on my other screen. But I've had to just crop that little bit out. He just leant back. He leant back to show more. Anyway. Yeah, it's been fun.
It has been. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. I appreciate this.
Till next time, I'll see you all later.
Bye, everybody.